Welcome, everyone. I am a retired detective, a man who devoted most of his career to forensic investigation. Tonight, I will tell you about the most immaculate, audacious theft I ever encountered. The lesson here is simple. The greatest risk is failing to see what's right in front of you. We called the mastermind simply the criminal because he constantly changed his identity, adapting perfectly to his surroundings. The scene of the crime was a major commercial hub at a high-end metal trading firm. The victim, the firm's owner, reported the theft of a large quantity of a rare metal ingot, valued in the millions. When we arrived at the scene, there were no broken windows, no signs of forced entry, just an empty, locked safe. This wasn't a robbery. It was a deception. The criminal created a fake identity for himself, a bogus logistics company. What did he do? He rented two adjacent offices, one for his legitimate-looking operation, the other kept as a ghost space. Before the main heist, he earned the victim's trust with a smaller transaction, paying promptly. He was investing in trust. He established himself as a respected, reputable businessman, even hiring a well-spoken secretary for the office. Then came the day of the major transfer. The victim sent the ingots with his couriers. The criminal met them in his office. Right in front of their eyes, he took the ingots and placed them into the steel safe mounted on the wall. He closed the door. He turned the key. The ingots were inside. The key was on the door. A classic act of confidence. He immediately pretended to take a phone call. "Partner, the goods are secured. Bring the money now." He told the couriers his partner was on the way. Shortly after, he excused himself, saying he was going down to collect the money. A few minutes later, he asked the secretary to step out on a minor errand. Half an hour passed. The couriers grew suspicious. They decided to check the safe. When the door opened, they saw it with horror. The safe was empty. Its back was cut out like a window. The wall behind the steel safe was breached. The criminal, after leaving under the pretense of fetching the cash, simply walked into his adjacent empty office. He had a laser cutter already set up, using it to cut out the back of the safe and breach the dividing wall. The moment the ingots were placed in the safe, they were taken from the other side and were long gone. The lock on the front was just a diversion. The only fingerprints at the scene belonged to the secretary, nothing belonging to the criminal. Genius of this magnitude is never limited to a single crime. This had to be his signature: gain their trust and get them to do the dirty work. I dug through cold cases and found a similar unsolved incident from years prior, one where the victim was initially suspected of fraud. A large quantity of industrial raw material had vanished from a warehouse. The claim was the same: no break-in, no forced entry. My obsession is finding out what the absence means. I focused on the warehouse locks. Indeed, there was no sign of tampering. But the locks themselves, they were the right brand, but a cheap different series. The criminal, on the eve of a major national holiday, when everyone was home, had cut the original heavy-duty locks. He then replaced them with these new, fake locks. The next day, a public holiday, the criminal rented a truck and hired temporary laborers. They arrived at the warehouse. He took the keys to the fake locks from his pocket. Click, click, click. He opened everything easily. Only the main entrance door remained locked. Here is the most genius move. The criminal put on his act. "Damn it! I left the key at home. If I drive back, it'll take 2 hours. Hey guys, does anyone have a crowbar?" He looked like a respectable businessman. They trusted him. The criminal never touched the door himself. He turned to the workers. "Just open that door. Don't worry about damage, I'll get it fixed." A laborer took the crowbar and forced the door open. They loaded the 12 tons of raw material. The criminal managed the entire process without dirtying his hands. When the work was done, he had them close the shutters. He put the fake locks back on, paid them, and vanished. Fingerprints? Only the prints of the laborers who handled the job for pay. I had cracked the criminal's code: deceptive trust and fingerprint traps. The last link was the secretary. I found her. I was able to determine the location of the criminal's next and largest target, a rare gem at a high-security museum. We had our final confrontation. The criminal, as always, gave instructions to a team of couriers, who were now our undercover officers. I forgot the key to the security room. Pry the door open right here. He was going to make someone else touch it again. But this time, we deviated from his script. As he prepared the operation, he needed to use a laser cutter. I had turned the single plastic item he had to touch, the remote key for the laser cutter, into a trap. That small piece of plastic was outside the meticulous plan he had constructed. He prepared everything. And just at the critical moment, he reached out and took the remote key in his hand. That was the moment the handcuffs snapped shut. "You got the muscle, detective," he sneered. "But where's the evidence? I didn't touch the safe." I didn't answer. I placed the remote key into an evidence bag. I wasn't waiting for your prints on the locks. I was waiting for them on the remote key for that laser cutter. You touched it, criminal. You finally did the dirty work yourself. The criminal is behind bars. But like many criminals who abuse the system, he will serve his time and perhaps be released, because the law is slow to catch up to his level of genius. So, my final word to you is this: everyone must be their own first line of defense. Choose who you trust wisely. Pay attention not just to the lock on your door, but to the wall behind it. And remember, if a plan seems too perfect, that plan is probably working against you.